If you are looking for a nice replacement to the Michter's 10 2023 Batch A, look at the 1924 Old Forester 10-year-old. This is an amazing, amazing whiskey at a great, great value. Welcome to the blind battle of the 10-year-old tatered bourbons. I'm your host Sam, and this is Whiskey and SV. Alright, so tonight is going to be a super special episode because I have in my possession the Old Forester 1924 10-year expression. So, as you know, Old Forester didn't have that many aged stated whiskeys out there. They are owned by Brown-Forman, and most of what they put out was non-age stated. The age stated stuff was super expensive. I think they had some President's Choice, which I've never seen in the store, and they have the Birthday Bourbon, which is usually a 12-year, maybe it changes every year, I'm not sure, but that's like super expensive and hard to find. It's $500-$600 a bottle. This specific version of it, which came out maybe a couple of months ago, and I managed to get my hands on it last week, goes for I think around $120 MSRP. You'll probably be hard pressed to find it at that. It's still like kind of limited. But even in secondary, I've seen it go for around $200, so it's not too ridiculous. Spoiler alert, I really love it. I think it's one of the, especially for that $120, $130 mark, it's a really great whiskey. So I thought what better way to put it up against some other really highly rated 10-year-old bourbons. And so tonight I'm going to put it up against the 2023 Michter's 10 bourbon, and this one is Batch A. As you know, Michter's 2023 Batch A bourbon was one of the best bourbons of last year. But you know, prices for it have gone through the roof in the secondary. They're in the order of, well, I think $450, $500, something like that. Pretty ridiculous. Last but not least, I want to put it against another product from Brown-Forman, and that is the Jack Daniel's 10-year, which is also, this one is Batch 2. You know, there's some rumors that Michter's actually sources its 10-year-old whiskey, and some people in my circle of friends claim that it tastes like Brown-Forman juice to them. I'm not sure about that. I don't really have a strong opinion on that, one way or the other. But I think for me, this blind is more about seeing which one I prefer. I think in my head, I have a good sense of how to, what my marker is for different Brown-Forman products. I believe Jack Daniel's for me is a sort of that like peanut note that I get in Jack Daniel's products. For Old Forester, there's this like sweet sort of nutty note that's not really peanuts. It's more like maybe hazelnuts or something. And the 10-year Michter's, I believe I remember it to be very confectionery, and just like it was just like having Werther's original sweets. This sort of like lots of caramel and deep confectionery notes. But let's see if all that is just in my head or if I can actually tell them apart. So without further ado, let's pour a little bit of a sample of these into each one of these and get started. We'll put number one as the 1924. So we'll do Michter's 10 as number 2. And they're all basically the same color, so that's fortunate. We can use these glasses without really worrying about it. So number 3, we'll put the Jack Daniel's 10-year. Okay, so yeah, I'm super excited to see what this comes out like, because in my mind, the Michter's 10 Bourbon 2023 Batch A was by far one of the best whiskeys of 2023. Even adjusted for price, I thought it was worth it. But after having tried the 1924 this year, I thought that that was also really amazing. So I wonder if it's you know, going to stand up to the Michter's 2023. The Jack Daniels, I did try it side by side earlier in the week when I first opened the 1924, and I felt it wasn't quite up to par. But we'll see if that's the case in a blind or not. All right, so let's get started with this tasting. So, as usual, we will start by nosing them first, and then we will taste. So, let's start by nose. Okay, so straight away, very sweet confectionery, caramel and vanilla. A little bit of oak as well. If I was to guess, based on my recent experience with this one, I would think it's the 1924, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, so this one is also very sweet and caramel. It's like these two, the difference is extremely small. This one I'm getting more sweets actually, and it kind of makes me think maybe this one is the Michter's 10. None of these smells like a Jack Daniels to me. Okay, third one. Yeah, this one smells more like a Jack Daniels. There's that slight peanut note that is a marker for me. But also underneath that peanut, there's also some sweetness. It's not as sweet as these two. Definitely doesn't have the same aromatic notes just exploding in your face. A little bit more muted, to be honest. Okay, so let's get started with the first one. Wow, that is really, really nice. So, you know, Arrival is just very syrupy, sweet. Even though it doesn't seem that high ABV, it feels creamy. There's something like mouth coating. You feel like it sticks to your tongue, and it's after the mid palate, you get the after the initial palate. There is that is very sweet and confectionery. There's some baking spices, and then the oaky notes come out, and then that sweetness just lingers on and on. It's really amazing. Okay, I don't know if that is honestly the 1924 or the 10, because I think the 1924 was also kind of the most recent one that I had, and it does kind of taste like that. But let me try this second one as well. This to me does smell a bit more like a. This to me smells more like what a Michter's would be like. Much more oaky notes on this one. Also very sweet. Yeah, they're. I think like enjoyment wise, these are very similar. They're the profile, the enjoyment, the kind of the viscosity, the caramels, the vanillas, the oak in the middle, the slight spices in the middle, and the lingering oak sweet kind of syrupy notes at the end are very similar. So I would not really say one is definitely better than the other. Now the question is, which one is the 1924? Which one is the Michter's 10? I'm leaning towards this one being the Michter's, but let me go back. I'm pretty sure none of these is the Jack Daniels, but let me go to the third one and try this. So now that I come back to this one is now opened up a little bit as well. But I definitely get more of that like slight peanut and oak on this, more than the confectionery stuff. Yeah, definitely very nice. I think the oak is much more present on this. I get the same vanilla and caramel coming through, but then like the oak bitters accompany the spices, and the oak is much more present on the finish. It's not quite as syrupy as the other two, but it's still a very, very competent whiskey. It's definitely very nice. Let me go back to these two and kind of like see. Yeah, it's a little bit sticky and nice. But now that I go from this to this also feels a little bit less. No, I get quite a bit of oak on this as well. There's a little bit of a magic marker note on this if you are not care if you like kind of wait and a magic marker note is definitely not at all on this. This is all sweet. Werther's original type of notes. So I'm pretty sure this has to be the Michter's 10. That's really nice. I think these two to me are near perfect what I would want in a, around a 100 proofer type of, aged bourbon. They are almost perfect. And this one is a little bit below, I would say. So Final thoughts. I think this one is the 1924. This one is the Michter's 10. And this one is the Jack Daniels. Okay, so let's start with the one which I think is definitely the true. Jack Daniels. This should be 3. Yep, this is 3. So I got that one correct. Okay, so between these two, I'm really curious to know if I got this one right. And this is number 2. Yes, so this is the Michter's 10, which would mean this has to be number 1. Yes, and it is the 1924. All right, so final conclusions for this. This 1924, don't sleep on it. I think it's some reviewers I've seen give this like sort of a mediocre mark, but it is very, very close to the Michter's 10 2023 Batch A, meaning $450 to $500 whiskey you can get now in this at you know, if you're lucky, $120 MSRP. I mean, the MSRP on this is $180, but good luck finding it at $180, right? And if it's Batch A, then definitely not. So if you are looking for a nice replacement to the Michter's 10 2023 Batch A, look at the 1924 Old Forester 10-year-old. This is an amazing, amazing whiskey at a great, great value. So definitely do not sleep on this. This is a good one. I need to go out and get myself a backup before I put this episode out. Well, the lucky thing is I'm not that big, so probably doesn't matter anyway. All right, thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and see you next time. Cheers.